Jen, I saw one ping. We got a question.
Yes, we do have a question in the Q&A box from Chris. It says, pricing strategy for new SaaS B2C product. What are some benchmarks or best practices?
That's a really great question. So I'll go first. And Kirsten, if you got something you want to throw in and add on there. So here's the thing. If you are trying to go in and price your SaaS and you are entering into a competitive landscape where there are other companies who do what you do, you just happen to do it differently, you got a different take on it, you should try and price your product 20%, I like to say 20% lower than the competition. If you can compare apples to apples, oranges to oranges. If you are competing against Monday.com or Salesforce, but you only do a fraction of what they do, then you can't use this model. But if you see comparable services out there and you come in and you say, we do exactly what they do, but we do it better, plus we're doing it 20% cheaper right now, then you'll start to get their attention. And so that's how you do it if you've got competition in the marketplace. Kirsten, any thoughts on that before I go to the next?
Just that for all benchmarks, it takes some digging. You have to be really creative. I've had some clients find some amazing statistics in the most wild places, like Silicon Valley Bank has a wine report. Who knew?
Yeah.
So like you can actually find benchmarking info if you just dig hard enough. And that would be my own thing I want to add to that.
Next, let's talk about if you're doing something that there isn't a precedent for. You have to use value-based pricing, and that's where you're going to have to experiment. For example, when streaming first came out, nobody knew what to charge for it. Nobody had any idea. So they started charging a certain price, and you go out and you test it. So you say based on value. So you think to yourself, well, if people are spending $100 a month on, and I'm just using round numbers, on movie tickets, movie rentals, late fees, we're going to take care of all that. We're going to charge them $10 a month. So it's a 10 extra solution. So we're going into the market at $9.99. Let's test it there. And then you experiment. What happens is you do price optimization. So once you have enough people and you're looking at it, you start to optimize your price. You increase your price a little by little until you lose the bottom 20% of your customers. This is where founders freak out. But Netflix has been doing this, Disney, all the streaming companies are doing this because the bottom 20%, you don't want them as customers anyway, and it's less efficient and all these things. If you can optimize, what happens is the rate of your price increase allows you to make more than what you lose, and you get better customers. So this is, and it's all optics and everything like that. So when you're pricing SaaS products, you either go in with competitive analysis or you go in and you try something and you test it, and then you slowly optimize prices to increase your pricing margins. When you get investment, they're going to be asking you for that. In the beginning, you may give it away for free, but eventually investors are going to make you optimize price to squeeze profit margin out of there. Kirsten, what are your thoughts?
I like to call it how to boil a frog.
It's good.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that terrible anecdote or whatever it'd be called, but you turn up the heat slowly. They don't even notice it. So you just keep increasing those prices slowly. And generally, if you keep providing value, a lot of people are kind of stuck into yours unless someone comes along, a competitor comes along and takes them away. So you have to keep an eye out for that. The other thing I would say was going back to the financials is he's talking about pricing it from the top down. So you need to know what that means and what your most likely deficit is as you're going and running and trying to get a profit. So if you're not basing what you're charging on what it actually costs in your business, you're reverse engineering that. There's two approaches and you should probably do both, but there's the top down and the bottom up. You'll hear that phrase a lot on modeling. So yes, if you're going to go that route, you need to know what's happening internally, and most likely it's not going to make a profit for a while.
That's great. Here's another strategy. This, you combine top down, bottom up. I will often go in and I will say, all right, how much would this problem cost you if you can't solve it? And if they say, all right, $12,000, and I go, great, I'm going to charge you $1,000 a month because my solution is going to get there, and try it. So now they're like, wow, this great, that's value add, right? And I can solve that. So play around with it. The best case scenario is you're going to be working off the data that customers give you. Like, I saw a comment in the chat. Founders struggle because they're so close to their business. Like when you're reading your own deck, including doing your own pricing, things like testing with as many people as possible helps. Test. Vadim, our lead advisor, says, go talk to another human and find out, get their opinion. And that's going to be the best way to do it. Because in your mind, it always sounds better than it really is until you talk to someone. And the best feedback you're going to get is when you tell someone the price.